Hey everybody, if you're joining us for the first time, we are chatting with real people doing real things extraordinarily. And if we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and you haven't gone over to my YouTube channel, please do and subscribe and hit the bell to get all of the latest content as soon as it is uploaded. So, TGIF, you guys, happy Friday. We are out to another weekend again. So, I'm super excited to welcome my guest for today. Tonight, I have the pleasure of welcoming the beautiful Martha Diede and learning all about how she makes her beautiful jewelry. Welcome, Martha, and cheers.
Cheers and thank you.
Cheers and cheers. Okay, sipping time. So I've got I was lazy today. I didn't make anything fancy. This is just Prosecco. But you have something really fun.
Yeah,
What do you have again?
this is berry lemonade with mint and tequila.
Mint and tequila. That's like the staple, I think, of San Antonio, Texas. Lots of tequila. Oh my goodness. So, how are you? Did you have a rough week? Is it oh my gosh, I'm so happy that the weekend's here.
Um, it wasn't that bad this
Mm-hmm.
week. It was
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
And it finally rained here, so I'm very happy. My plants are happy. Um, and I am looking forward to the weekend. How about you?
Yes, I am too. It's been a long week. Every week seems like a long week. I don't know. And then I don't know if I didn't have this before. Like when I was younger, I can fall asleep like this. Now I'm like sitting here. I can't
Hmm.
sleep. I can't sleep. I can't sleep. And all I want to do is just sleep so that I can wake up and have coffee.
Yes. Yes. I want to wake up and have coffee because coffee
That's
is
all.
a
Yes.
true
Yes.
staff of
That's all I
life.
want to do. Oh
I
my
hear
goodness. Yes. Okay. So let's just get right into it. Let's go ahead and start chatting. Can you give us a little bit of background on yourself so that folks can get acquainted with you?
that. Sure. So I live in Syracuse, New York, and I have two fur babies. They are cats. One is called Samurai, and the other one is Kanji. Um, exactly. And um, I also have a spouse and a daughter, and she's 14. Let's see, what else can I tell you about myself? We have an eclectic household, so there are lots of different hobbies going on. So my
Hmm.
daughter is a gymnast.
Oh,
She's also a
great.
musician. She takes violin lessons, which is great because I play the violin. So she's getting to the point where we can play together.
Oh my
And
goodness. That's
yeah, I know it's
beautiful.
super exciting. And then I garden and try to grow food, which is hard in Syracuse because the weather's not always conducive. Yeah,
It's hot over
exactly.
here. Hot over here, and then Texas has big things, like big creepy crawlers and things that like to eat my plants.
Yeah, we have chipmunks and they like to eat
Oh,
most of my garden,
yeah.
but I can't bring myself to kill them because they're so cute.
Yeah, they are cute. They are adorbs. Those
So
tomato horned green worms though that keep getting my tomato plant
yeah,
every single year. They're really beautiful, but they gotta go. So I'm like,
yeah,
you're out of here.
exactly. So, and we have some birds that have tried the tomatoes. I tried netting them to keep them off.
Oh
So
wow. Well, does
we'll
that
see.
work? Ish.
Ish,
Ish.
ish.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you know. So that, and then I do the beading, which is what we're here to talk about.
Yes. All right. So you make these gorgeous necklaces, also not just necklaces, but obviously if you have beads, you can do also anklets and bracelets and earrings and all this good stuff. So what got you interested in jewelry making in the first place?
Um, oh, such a good question. So when I was little, my grandmother had a rule, and she wouldn't buy anything if it didn't make her sparkle. And that was so it was your dress or your shoes or your jewelry. And she had amazing taste. She was actually an artist.
Mhm.
And so she would collect costume jewelry and make things like repurpose it and make things out of it. But she always collected the really good stuff. And so I kind of got into jewelry making from that.
Oh wow, that's so neat. So she was the first upcycling then, I guess.
Oh,
But you
yeah.
talk about repurposing, and I love that because then you get something that's funky and unique and that's all your
Mhm.
own. And then when you have a vision and you're creative like that, that's even, oh, that's super cool.
Oh yeah. The
That's so cool.
it's it watching her do it was absolutely amazing because I would look at something and she'd say, well, that's broken. And she's like, no, this is my next blah blah blah. And I'd be like, okay. And then it happened.
Yeah, very cool. See, like my mom, she used to sew. And she's like, well, back in our day, she's like, we don't go to the store to buy things. She's like, we made our clothes. And I was like, well, where are
Mhm.
all those? Because she shows me pictures and she's in these like stunning outfits. And I'm like, where are these outfits? Oh, I just threw them away.
Well, there you go.
Fashion is cyclical. So it's like, why
I,
did you do that?
I know. It's
Oh
true
my
though.
goodness. Yeah, it is true. So how long have you been making jewelry?
I have been making jewelry for, oh my gosh, about 20 years.
Oh, wow. So you've been hiding this all to yourself for 20 years? Because we just saw this. Like I just saw this on Facebook, you guys, and that's why I was like, Martha, we need to talk about what you're doing with your jewelry because I had never seen this before from you.
Yeah.
And here you are hiding it. How dare you?
Well, it takes a while to get your skills up, and
Mhm.
there were some interruptions along the way. So yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So 20 years. Wow. So how long does it take to put together one necklace? And I know you have some with you, so
Right.
some of
So
them in different lengths and stuff, right?
right. So this is the lapis one that we were talking about earlier. And this
Pretty.
one took me about 5 hours
Oh,
to
wow.
because you lay it out and you have to knot it in between, and then you have to be sure that you have the clasp on perfectly and that it doesn't slip. So that sounds like a long time, but it's really not. I think I'm probably overestimating. It's probably less than that. But this one took longer because these were an antique strand that was broken. And so I had to spend the time to take it apart and be sure and match it and craft it along so that it would be a solid piece.
Awesome. And so some of so like so you've got the lapis lazuli. So that was a vintage piece.
Mhm.
Um and some of these are you're using precious or semi-precious
Absolutely.
stones. So how do you procure them? And then are there specific stones that you use for certain healing properties or
Mm,
anything like that? Because we know lapis lazuli is like the mother of like
absolutely.
healing stones. So tell us about that.
So, so let's start with the procurement question first.
Mhm.
So procuring things is an interesting process. I go to estate sales, I look at garage sales. Um, I can sometimes order from different sellers on Etsy or eBay, sometimes Instagram, but I have to be really choosy about what I get. And I've got some sellers that I know who can help me get what it is that I'm looking for. And then sometimes I see something and I will grab it because it's beautiful and I love the way that the light plays with it. And then I stick it in a drawer and wait until I rediscover it. Uh, so then I reuse it. Um, so that's how I procure the stones themselves. And then the clasps I can procure from sellers on eBay and Etsy. Some of them I will make, some of them are antiques. So again, estate sales, antique shops, antique shows, Insta, those kinds of places. And then as far as choosing, right? Um, so lapis, as you said, is sort of the mother of all the healing stones. But like this one, which is yellow jade, this is for your organs. So your kidney, your liver, your larynx, your thyroid, right?
Mhm.
And so this is one, and I love the light on this. I love that the way the stones change color in the light.
Mhm.
And so that's something that I looked at and I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
So
it's so pretty. That one is like really it's different because I've never seen yellow jade before. So I always
yeah,
see like white jade or green jade. So that's really different.
yeah.
Awesome.
So and it just depends, what's interesting. So This one, this one is tourmaline, and you can see that it's kind of like a rainbow, but not. And even if I put it all together, it wouldn't be rainbow like.
Hmm.
But tourmaline is for compassion and kindness. and attracting those things to you and then being able to share them. And, our world could use a lot more of that.
Yes, big time, big time. And then you have, so I had asked you earlier, and it was a question because again, when we're chatting before we actually go live and talk to everybody else, um, have you ever done a rosary with some of your stones? And you said you hadn't, but you had something similar
Yeah,
that could probably be used as one. Tell us a little bit about that, and if you want to show that, because that one's really
sure.
interesting also, and it's very different from the other three pieces
Yeah.
that you've just shown.
So this one's really different. And I'll wait for it to stop moving around a bit. So this one, you can see this one is chain with pearl stations along the way and the cross at the bottom. This one can be worn as a necklace, but used as a rosary, you can see the different stations in place. And I have a Victorian cross piece that would make a perfect bottom for one, but I haven't found the right stones yet. And so when I find them, I'll put them together. Or maybe somebody wants one and I'll make one for them using that piece. I don't know. But,
It may
but
be me.
yeah, but the thing about this that I really like is you've got the power of the cross at the bottom on a very delicate chain. And it doesn't look that way, but I love the contrast and I love the light of the pearls in that.
Mhm.
And so that's just one other kind of thing I've been thinking about.
Oh, wow. And then so um, not all of the beads have um, are done with cord. I guess what are the different
No,
materials you use to actually like put everything
like
together?
like string it.
Yes, yes.
So, so some of them are done on silk cord. So the beads that you saw first were on silk cord. What you just saw is on a 14K chain. Um, but I've also used a kind of wire called tiger tail, which is a little bit heavier than fishing line and has a polyester kind of clear coat. So you get like a fine silver line and then
Mhm.
the bead size or station. And that will work with crimping beads. So I can put the beads across without making a knot or a loop. Um, and sometimes you can actually use one strand of beads to string other beads. So you can use small beads and then put a larger bead over that string of small ones and station them. So it's pretty much what you can imagine is what you can do.
Oh, awesome. And so um, anybody can come and kind of basically tell you like, hey, I'd
Mhm.
like this created, or I'd like um, I'd really love um, like I love moonstone. So
Okay,
I would love a white moonstone rosary.
right. Okay.
Like how would you put that together?
So the first thing I would ask you is if you wanted gold or silver or copper,
Hmm.
because gold, silver, or copper will dictate the rest of the materials that I use. The clasp, if you're going to do a rosary like that, what would the cross color need to be? Do you want everything to be the same color, or do you want it to be multiple metal colors? Because those are also options. And then I'd ask you how big you wanted the beads to be. So the beaded pieces I showed you are fairly large. Those beads are about 10 millimeters.
Hmm.
Um, but the pearls that I showed you are only about 4. And so it's very different in terms of feel and weight, what you want. And then that starts dictating things like price and how I can
Hmm.
procure those.
Okay.
And so then it just becomes a matter of I get all the materials and I figure out which movies I'm going to watch and I'm going to binge watch something and I stream it and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, yeah, so my wheels are turning. I really like uh that necklace that you have, and to that vintage cross looks beautiful. And I do not have a gold cross. All the crosses that I have are silver. And
Oh,
so,
there
yeah,
you
and I
go.
love white moonstone, which I know is depending on the time and the season becomes very hard to procure. So certain gems are not going to be easy to find. Um, and you also said that you would do rubies and different things like
Mhm.
that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, what is the most difficult bead or stone
Ooh.
that you've worked with?
The most difficult one I've worked with,
Hmm.
um, that's actually either emerald or aquamarine, because the composition of the stone is such that they chip or flake really easily. And so um, that's part of the reason why if you have a strand of those, you want to be really careful with it, because they'll flake really easily and then it doesn't look right. But that also means that they're very hard for an artisan to drill. And so sometimes you get a bead that's the hole is misdrilled. So if this is your bead, the hole is like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you have to either discard it or you straighten it out depending on how bad it is. And that gets tricky.
Oh, wow. Wow. And then, so rubies are funky, aren't they? You've
Yes,
worked
they
with
are.
rubies before. My mom had or brought in a ruby ring. And
Mhm.
when I started doing some research on rubies, it's hard to find a pure one. Let's put it that way.
Yes, it is very hard.
So how have you been? I mean, have you worked with rubies too? And have you been able to procure? Oh, well, oh my goodness.
Hang on. It's got to stop moving.
Oh, wow. Those colors are gorgeous.
So this you have to get. So something like this, I'm going to
Mhm.
ask to get straight from like a distro that goes from a mine to a gem cutter,
Mhm.
in order to get something that has this level of variety and gradation to it.
Oh, wow.
And these are not necessarily the most high quality rubies. Like the clarity isn't great, but the colors are so cool that it doesn't really matter to me. But I wouldn't set those in a ring, right, where I would
Right.
see the color um, and be interested in clarity. But it's
Gotcha.
extremely hard to get good rubies.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Like,
what that little bit of research that I did, I was like, holy smokes.
right?
Yeah, it is really, really difficult. All right, so do you have an online shop or a website? Like, how can folks get in touch with you if they want to have a necklace or a ring or earrings or anklets or something, bracelet made, or to purchase one? How do they get in touch with you?
The easiest way is either Facebook Messenger, which is probably showing up here, or just my email, which is mkdiede@gmail.com.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're working on that website then. Is that what we're saying?
Depends. Are you going to help me set up the business model here? Because I'm like, with what time?
That's right. I know. Well, I mean, you're binge watching and you're doing the work. So yeah. I mean, who's
Right.
got time to do a website, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I know it's something I need to do. And I probably have like 2 boxes or 3 boxes of stuff that could go up on it. But have I had time? No.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, it blows my mind that you've been doing this literally for 20 years. And again, I never knew about this. And the rest of the folks that are watching right now didn't know about this either. So like I'm so excited and I'm so happy that you are because again, I think there's a couple of things that I have in mind because I love chokers. Clearly, I love
Yes.
chokers. If I were to make something like it's you said that I love the way the beads reflect the light. For me, I like things that jingle and make noise and stuff and that are like blowing in
Yeah.
the wind. So that would be me. But yeah, I just have like a ton of things in my mind that I think you and I will be chatting about very soon as far as
Cool.
procurement for me.
That's awesome. That's
I think
fun.
it'll
I
be fun.
Because the thing is, grandma's rule isn't that bad. Don't wear anything that doesn't make you sparkle.
I love it. I love it.
Find the things that make you sparkle.
That's like a life lesson. That's all,
Mhm.
like, that's in life in general. Make it
Right,
shine, make it sparkle, make it colorful, whatever. Just,
right. And if it's not making you sparkle, why are you doing it?
yeah. Yeah, very true. Very true. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your jewelry, the procurement, how you put it together, your creative process, anything like that?
No, but if you
Yep.
have ideas, I'd love to hear them.
I do. I do. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. All right. Before I let you go,
Okay,
and thank you again for chatting with me, and thank
of
you for
course.
sharing your beautiful craft with us. Before I let all of my guests go, I like to do a just for fun speed round. So, are you ready?
I'm ready. Go.
All right. What's your favorite stone and why?
My favorite stone is actually a conch pearl because they are incredibly rare
Mhm.
And because when you look at them in the light, they glow with a flame pattern. So it's something that has irritated this mollusk and has become not just the shape of beauty, which is like a pearl, but also captures inside it that irritation and shows it off in a way that is beautiful
Oh,
and
wow.
stunning.
Oh, wow. I'll have to look that up because I don't think I've ever like seen that specific
Hmm.
pearl. So that would be awesome. So are you more water, earth, air, or fire?
Oh, I'm a water and fire girl.
So you can go with the flow, but you can
Hmm.
also be the hurricane.
Pretty much. I'll go with the flow right until we hit the point, and then there's a hurricane coming.
And then there's a hurricane. We like to spark that light in others, but then I will burn you down.
Well, not quite, but kind of.
Well, you know where I'm going with that. All
I
right.
do.
So I think you kind of said this already, but well, you said the specific thing. What was the most difficult piece that you had to work on?
Oh, the most difficult piece I've had to work on.
Hmm.
So I did a set of aquamarines, which had that problem where they flaked and chipped. That was one. The other piece that I worked on actually was not a piece of jewelry. It was a brass lamp that was an antique, and someone had treated it very badly, but the bones were intact. And so I literally took the whole thing apart, rewired it, resoldered the shade underneath, restitched the shade, and hung all the prisms. And now it works.
Oh, wow. Wow. But it was difficult. How long did it take you to do that?
6 months.
Holy smokes.
Well, because that what I mean treated badly, I was not kidding.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. All right. So if you weren't making jewelry, what would be your second best thing that you would love to be doing?
Making music.
Ah, violin player.
Yeah.
Yes. That is so awesome. I'm actually a little jealous because I started with piano because we had a piano in our house. And
Hmm.
so everybody was gonna play piano. And then I went to school and I was like, I want to play violin. So we had a rental for violin, I think, for like a year.
Okay.
And mom and dad were like, we're not paying for this anymore. You're one of six other individuals in
Yeah.
this house. And so you're going to go ahead and do piano like the rest of everybody else. So that was the end of my violin days. But I loved it for the year that I did it. And I don't know.
Have you
Maybe I
thought
should
about
go back
picking
to
it
it.
back up?
No, it's hard to find, I think, it's hard to find adult classes. I don't know.
Why are you taking a class? Take lessons.
Well, that's what I mean, like lessons, adult lessons.
Um, ask ask at one of the schools around. You're in San
Hmm.
Antonio, so
Yeah, yeah.
there should be University of Texas San Antonio, and there's Holy Trinity
Oh
University.
yeah, that's downtown. Yeah. Hmm.
Right. They will have music departments,
Hmm.
and somebody in their department will give lessons. All you need to do is contact the department and ask.
I'll have to do that.
Seriously, you can do
I'll have
it.
to do that. I'll have to see if I even like that is even like if I'm even good at it. I was
If
good at it when I was like in elementary school.
if you did it when you're a kid, your body will remember the motions.
Yeah,
And
well, I don't know about that because again, I took lots of lessons, piano lessons, right? And I can't
mhm,
even play chopsticks to this day, probably because I despised playing piano so much.
um, hmm, could it be that you despise playing
Yeah.
piano that much?
Potentially. Yeah,
Yeah,
potentially.
but really, if you're interested, give it a go. Right? Just
Mhm.
ask, because what's going to happen? You're going to get told no.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Very true. We'll have to check on that for sure. Martha, thank you so much. For everybody else out there, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Friday, and we'll chat with you guys next week. Take care.
You too, Suze. Thank you.